All right, guys, joining me at this time is another competitor from the combat sports coverage submission only jiu-jitsu grappling competition. Narvaez is going to be taking on a group of people because he's going to be in a team competition going in for $1,000, man. Tell me, how excited are you to be going up with a nice little pot on the line?
Yeah, man. I mean, I come from the days when you pretty much had to pay for everything, whether you're a black belt or not.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I get a chance to compete and get a chance to earn some money at it, I definitely jump on that.
Team Top Mount Apparel is who you were sponsored by. Who brought the team together though?
Man, actually, they reached out to me. The organization reached out to me, and they had told us there was an entry fee, but they might be able to get some sponsors. And of course, my guys, I do a lot of traveling and paying for hotels and things like that. And then my guys, Eddie Torres is an up and coming fighter and trying to make his way. And then Josh Leonard, all his money goes to tournament fees and things like that. So I was happy to take the sponsorship.
Right.
Shout out to Top Mount for covering us on this entry fee. That way we could go up there and just have some fun, do what we do.
Try to come back with $1,000.
Yeah.
Tell me, how long have you guys been? Do you guys all train together, right?
Yeah. So Eddie and me have been training together for quite some time. We are actually together under Hector Munoz at another gym, Full Contact Fight Academy, back in like 2000, probably 2014. After I got cut from the UFC, I decided to form my own program. I was kind of, all the years of hard work and stuff that I had done, I kind of felt like it was time for me to branch off. And so I kind of left at that time. That gym kind of dissolved. It's still around. It's under one of our other training partners, Roger Reyes. Hector still is, the head coach there, but he's pursuing other facets of making money at this time and taking some opportunities to do some promoting and things of that nature for grappling events. But Eddie went ahead and jumped over with me probably about 2 years ago now. And Josh is about a year under us. And he also came from that team. So I'm excited to have those guys. They had really solid fundamentals, really solid jiu-jitsu. I felt like in the last 2 years, their potential was always there. And I think this last year or so, both of them have really excelled and kind of hit their stride. And we got a great team of coaches with different styles at our gym, different body types. And I really feel like that's kind of up their game a little bit with the competition aspect of getting in there and mixing it up with the best.
You talk about you got a room full of killers. How hard was it to just to choose two? Obviously, you had Eddie and Josh were the two that ended up being on the team. How hard was it to decipher between everybody?
Not hard at all, man, because those are the guys that put in the most work. We got a lot of guys that are there all the time, and a lot of guys are pretty hardcore with it, but they have daytime jobs. And these are two guys that, they have full-time jobs as well, but they live for jiu-jitsu. Eddie is trying to make it to the UFC and make a career out of fighting. He's got great potential with that. And then Josh, I think he is he's that diamond in the rough. You don't come across kids like him with the natural ability and talent that he has. And I think with the right guidance, he can be a world champion, not only at purple belt, but I see him potentially being a world champion at black belt as well. So we're excited for both of those kids. And, like I said, it wasn't hard because of the effort and the work that they put in on the mat. So.
Yeah, it makes it easy when they're pretty much in the gym 24/7. It's really easy to pick them out.
Yeah. They remind me of me when I was coming up. Of course, I'm 37 now. Got a lot of years of grappling behind me and competition and a lot of knowledge, a lot of things I wish I would have known then that I know now. And so I try to pass that off to them. And Josh is one of those kids that, he just goes. And I'm like, man, you got to slow down, youngster. You're not going to have that forever. And you kind of got
plenty of time.
Yeah. He's the guy that just wants to go and roll. He don't care who he rolls against. he searches me out every round, you know, and I put it on him. I don't take it easy on him because I know that ain't gonna help him. But
Yeah.
he's constantly looking to challenge himself on the mat, and in competition. So, you know, same thing with Eddie. I mean, I'm bigger than both those guys. I'm 230 pounds. Josh is about 150, 160, and Eddie's probably about 155, 150 or so. And they don't shy away from me, man. They come in and they bring it. So, you know, both those guys are great competitors and great students as well.
You talked about, obviously you've been in the UFC. You got guys like Eddie who are going to be breaking into that scene soon. What's the type of advice you'd give him?
Man, honestly, you know, with Eddie, there's not a lot of um, how would I say outside. He's doing everything right. You know, uh, for Eddie, I would just say stay the course. He's doing everything he needs to do. He eats well. You know, doesn't do anything stupid outside of the gym to get him in trouble. Um, you know, he stays focused. He's in the gym six sometimes 7 days a week. Um, you know, so for him it would just be stay the course and you know, don't let your setbacks halt you. You know, everybody I think has a vision and has a goal, but it's your true character gets shown when you have that setback or that little failure. And right now Eddie's on an uphill climb, man. He's undefeated as an amateur with I believe 2 amateur belts. I believe he's 2-0 as a pro, with knockouts on his record, and the kid's not even you know, considering a stand-up fighter. But you know, that's the new evolution. That's the new generation. These guys that are, you know, Eddie was a wrestler in high school, went to state, wrestled in high school, and then picked up jiu-jitsu, and then you know, started working the striking just to become a fighter. And now the kid's freaking knocking people out, you know, with his ground and pound and on his feet. You know, last fight he went against a boxer, and he put him down in the beginning of the second round with one shot. And you know, we're excited. His growth under his coaches is um, it's been really impressive to see how much he's improved. You know, Patrick Ibarra, who's also a well-known, you know, fighter in the region, 6-1 as a professional, only lost to Damasio Page, and you know, Patrick's kind of put on the coaching hat now. He hasn't fought in about 4 or 5 years, but man, this guy's knowledge base and his understanding of striking and just MMA altogether is something that is really impressive. And so with Eddie being under him, you know, as far as the MMA stuff, you know, having our head owner Rudy Valenzuela, you know, have an understanding of a great understanding of MMA and you know, having me there and on the jiu-jitsu aspect of things, you know, the kid's got every resource he needs and he takes advantage of it. So, you know, for Eddie, I think it's just a matter of time before we break through to that next level.
Now your career has kind of been full circle. You know, you made it to the UFC. Now you're watching guys and coaching guys go to the UFC. What's it like for you to kind of just see the next generation evolve?
Man, it's interesting. You know, it really is. You know, from the old school, you used to have, you know, from when I first started, it was like you didn't have to be. We had guys that were great grapplers, had no striking
Yeah,
whatsoever.
for
That's all they
sure.
did. Yeah, they get it to the ground, they win.
You look at all the, especially the early UFCs. Horace Gracie was able to judge with just jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, surprisingly, that happened all the way up until I'd say, you know, probably maybe 6 to 7 years ago, it really started to make its way where you start seeing the well-rounded martial artists that everybody is. You know,
Yeah,
black belts that can strike, that can wrestle, boxers that you know are learning takedowns. You know, so that's the big thing that I'm seeing with this new generation. And you're watching guys come up in the Fury. You know, fighting championships organization, and man, these kids, I say kids, they're grown men, but I mean, shit,
yeah.
I'm 67 now, so I've kind of earned that right to call them kids, I guess. I'm not the young buck anymore, but you know, they, man, they're just really impressive. I mean, there's a couple guys out of 4 ounce, Fight Academy. They're really solid that I've been following for years. There's guys with Crew Bob Bettis that are, out of Main Street, that are really, really solid. And then we've got our own guys here, South Texas. We've got some diamonds in the rough here. And Eddie's one of those guys. And just to see, like I said, the progression of the sport and to see how talented this new generation is, it's crazy, man. I mean, I didn't start jiu-jitsu till I was 24 years old. These guys are starting at the age of 8 and 9, and by the time they're 18, they got 10 years of combat sports training and competing under their belts. Whereas somebody like me, I didn't even take my first amateur fight till I was like 28 years old. So it's definitely awesome to see the growth of the sport. A sport that really changed my life and gave me a new purpose and drive. And so, I'm not a hater at all. That's why I've kind of stepped back from from competing myself. Is I don't have the time to do it all. That's why I love jiu-jitsu, because I can focus on that and I can compete at a decently high level at doing just that. But man, I mean, it's to compete with these kids that are just living, and sleeping MMA and boxing and kickboxing
from the moment they stepped on the mat.
Yeah, it's it's their time now. So I gladly step back and hang my hat on just doing the jiu-jitsu aspect of things. And it's like I tell the guys in the gym, I'm that old lion. I got those young guys in the pride that are coming up, but I ain't ready to pass that torch yet. So nothing's coming easy, and I ain't sitting back and just going up, riding off into the sunset yet. I still got plenty left in me, and I train my body hard, and I push myself on a daily basis, for jiu-jitsu now. And I'm just glad to have opportunities like this one come up.
If you were able to look at your younger self, what would be the advice you'd give to yourself now, knowing everything you know?
Man, honestly, enjoy the process more. The grind is necessary, but when you live it and you don't allow yourself to enjoy life through the process, you miss a lot. I missed a lot with my daughter coming up. My wife at the time, took care of a lot of those responsibilities. And I wasn't there for my daughter as much as I wish I could have been. But looking back, there was a lot of opportunities that I had fighting for the UFC and traveling and training, and I never really embraced all those opportunities. I was literally there on business. Every time I went to a training session, every time I went out of town on a training trip, it was for that purpose, to just get better. And I mean, I think that's part of the reason why I was able to get to the level I was at. But looking back, I wish I would have just taken more time to enjoy the experience itself. Fortunately now I've got a beautiful fiance that supports me in what I do. And so with jujitsu, I'm not trying to get lost in it the same way I was with MMA. I enjoy it. It's like this weekend, we're going out of town. My daughter's got a cheer competition coming up, and my fiance's daughter has competes as well. So we're gonna enjoy the weekend. But shit, I made sure and got my 8 rounds of jiu-jitsu in early this morning, and then I went and lifted right after that, because I know these young bucks, they don't give a shit about an age. They don't give a shit about a belt. They're just trying to prove themselves, and I'll be damned if somebody's gonna take my belt, use that as like a stepping stone or something to brag over. If they definitely, if I get beaten competitions, because they earn that shit. So that's the one thing I think that I missed out on. But you live and you learn, and I'm still young enough to follow my dreams of competing in jiu-jitsu and enjoying my family time. So we're looking forward to this weekend, and like I said, it's definitely a learning process when you're going through it. But if I could give any advice to anybody, it's just enjoy the process.
Now, what do you, Eddie, and Josh have to do to get away with this $1,000 next weekend? Or sorry,
Man,
May 1st.
honestly, I'm very confident in our guys. Eddie's undefeated at brown belt and his super fights. Josh is undefeated at purple belt. I've competed against the best guys in the world in jiu-jitsu. I've won some, I've lost some, but looking at the brackets, I feel that we have a really got a good opportunity. I think for us, it's just going to be go in there, set the tone, set the pace, and not throttle back. Just let it all hang out. Competition is the time where I tell my guys it's kill or be killed. I think that's what sets our gym apart as far as jiu-jitsu. I bring an MMA mindset to jiu-jitsu. I bring a fighting mindset. I don't bring a sport mindset to it. Um, my jiu-jitsu style is mean, aggressive, nasty. There's nothing gentle about the jiu-jitsu that we do at our gym. And so I think if we just go in and apply our pressure and apply our pace, and capitalize on the opportunities when they present themselves and don't hesitate, then I think we have a pretty good chance of walking away with that 1,000.
No, for sure. You've been doing jiu-jitsu for how long now?
I started in 2007, so what's that, like 21? It's 14 years.
And you're a black belt, you said?
Yeah, I
What
got my
degree?
black. I'm actually technically, I only have one degree, but I got my black belt back in 2013. So technically, I should be closer to. I should be a second degree, working on my third. But my coach wasn't. He wasn't real big on the IBJJF. Um,
Hmm.
and honestly, I'm not either. I understand you got to play the game, and that at some point I'm gonna have to get certified. But when you look at it and it's like, hey, it's you got to take a ref course. It's $400, and you got to pay $500 for this, and it's like $1,000 just to get certified to say you're a black belt. It's like, man, I've proved myself in competition. I proved myself in the UFC. I continue to prove myself. So I just feel like I shouldn't have to do that to
No, for
to
sure.
uh, to earn that title. So my coach, he's been slacking a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but he hasn't been training as much either. So it's kind of hard to get with him, but definitely, it's I should have got my second degree 2019, and I should be getting my third degree 2022 of August.
Nice. Where does your lineage come from?
So Hector Munoz was the coach. I was his first black belt.
Hmm.
He's under JD Shelley, who was under Romero Jacare Cavalcante. So that's kind of like my lineage right there. Jacare is one of the founders of Alliance, and then
Yeah.
of course you can trade it, chase it all the way back. But um, Jacare, he doesn't just hand out black belts, and JD is a world champion in the Masters division. Um, he he's an OG, up there in Dallas, Dallas, Texas, and he still stays active, competing, rolling. Or I'm sorry, he doesn't compete as much anymore, but he's still always rolling, going to seminars, learning. And then my coach got his black belt. He was the first black belt here in Corpus Christi. And then I was training under him right before that, right when he was like brown belt, and then he got his black belt. And Hector was kind of one of the OGs here as far as jiu-jitsu and MMA. He was one of the guys that really got on the national radar, and started fighting for bigger organizations. And he was one of those guys that was oh so close to getting the call up, to the bigger show. He had a couple of opportunities, and man, he fought some guys, on some pay-per-view cards, and it just didn't go his way. But he was definitely one of the guys that laid the foundation for MMA here in Corpus.
And you kind of just picked up that ball, made it to the UFC. Everything kind of works out. It's crazy to watch that evolution, especially in a small town like Corpus Christi. You're able to just see guys evolve, and evolve with the game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. I think for me, making it was, I tell the guys all the time, I'm a big dude. I'm not the strongest. I've never been the strongest. I've never been the
Mhm.
biggest, the fastest, the most athletic. But when I set my mind to something, I just fucking go, and I think that's the heart that it takes, and the determination that it takes. I think some people just aren't willing to put in. And I've seen plenty of guys that are way more talented than me that never made it to that level because they just simply don't want to work. You know, it is a lot. It is a sacrifice. It is um, a pain in the ass at times. But what are you willing to sacrifice to get to your goals? I always tell my guys, you can be ordinary. That's fine. You can be an average guy or girl. It that's your choice. Like, I'm not anybody to say, shame on you for doing that. But I think the biggest regret and that I would have as a person is not realizing my full potential, and I think for anybody that's got to be there, to go through this life and have the potential to be great, but simply not want to put in the work to do so, and live a mediocre existence because of that. Man, that's a waste of life in my opinion, you know. And it doesn't have to be in fighting. It doesn't have to be, I'm a firefighter too. I see plenty of guys that wear the badge, that wear the logo, and I got some solid dudes around me. But in every group, there's also the guys that are just okay with getting a paycheck. And it's not just with firefighting. It's any asset, any facet of life you look at. My fiance is a teacher, and she's a damn good teacher, and she cares about her kids and stresses out, when they're not doing well. And I know other teachers that could really give a crap, So to me, it's being able to push yourself and sacrifice in those times for that, so that you can accomplish those great things. Like I said, Hector laid the foundation. We had some solid guys here that started jiu-jitsu here, and for me, I'm kind of that next generation. And like I said, I wasn't anybody special, man. I just put in hours and hours of work. I ate what I needed to eat. I didn't drink when I wasn't supposed to drink. I didn't party when I wasn't supposed to party, and I just fucking worked my ass off to get to where I got. And because of that, I ended up being the first guy, only guy so far from Corpus to make it. I should say born and bred, because somebody always throws a smart ass comment about Anthony Smith. I guess he was born here in Corpus too, but he moved when he was like 3 or 4 and never came back. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I wasn't the first guy to make it, but born, bred, and raised, and I came, like, I made it fighting with the guys from Corpus, like training with the guys from Corpus, with my fight team, being the only 205er here and sparring with guys that are 155 pounds, 165 pounds, and them sacrificing their time and bodies to help me to get to where I wanted to get. So I'm thankful for all of that. But I think we lack that as a society today. Is just that hard work. We're satisfied with handouts. We're satisfied
Yes.
with getting buys. I mean, it's like, fuck. How many times have I seen a guy stand on the podium at IBJJF tournament and brag about getting silver when he didn't tell you there's only 2 people in the damn division. Even
No,
even
I
now,
see that
man.
shit
There's
all the
there's
time.
even now, man. There's, oh god, I won't call anybody out, but there's fucking black belts out there that literally turn down super fights. Black belts, and I guess I have a different mindset because I'm an MMA fighter,
Mm.
like, and I never turned down a fucking fight. Like, my second fight in the UFC, they had threw me Luke Barnett, who is number one freaking guy out of the United Kingdom at 185, and I was coming off a loss, and I was like, well, fuck it. I mean, you're in the UFC, you can't pick and choose. So when it comes to jujitsu, it's like, man, it trips me out how guys are so scared just to compete against other guys. It's like, if you get caught, tap. It's not it's not the end of the world. Like, you live to fight another day. But I think it's people have those egos, and then to see these people who are scared to compete, but then they go and they compete at these little tournaments, or at these nagas. And dude, I did one fucking naga, and because I wanted that belt, I hadn't won a belt, and this was like when I was after the UFC, and that was the last Naga I ever did, because I waited all day to go against a kid that was a blue belt in the advanced division, and he threw himself in the advanced division, and I didn't know he was a blue belt at the time, but like I submitted him in like 35 seconds with head and arm choke, and I'm just like, it was a waste of fucking time. So
Right.
you know, when I see these guys talking about how their system works and how badass they are, and I'm like, bitch, you don't even want to take a jiu-jitsu match
No
against
risky
me.
fights.
Yeah, you'll be the big guy, you'll be the big guy, but you won't. You complain because you say I'm 20 pounds heavier than you. I'm like, come on, man, like give me a break, you know. So, you know that kind of. Sorry, I got off in a little rant there,
No,
but
you're
you
fine.
know, it's just really frustrating because there's a couple people out there that I've had promoters reach out to
Go
me.
ahead and name names.
Oh man, I try not to. That's the one thing I do try to stay with is positivity in the jujitsu community, and
For
it's hard
sure.
for me because I'm very fucking confrontational and very vocal. And if you look at my Facebook, I mean, people, I say, hey, you either fucking like me or you don't. And I really don't give a fuck which one it is because I like to keep a small circle as it is. I know my team, my family,
4
people that
quarters are
really
better than
know
100
me.
pennies.
Yeah, exactly, man. And the people that I do care about, like I'm there for. They know I got their back, like ride or die style, you know. But um, I just can't stand when I see people out there, submitting guys that are far less obviously skilled than them,
Mhm.
and bragging about it. Using it as a tool to promote their fucking business. I mean, it is what it is, man. People. If you're gonna call yourself great, and you have to be the one to constantly be talking about how badass you are, then are you really a badass? You know what I mean? So,
For sure.
all right. So that's my negative rant of the day. I always have one. I gotta,
I'm
I
glad
always,
we can get
I
that
always,
off your chest.
I always tell my girl Ashley. I always tell her. I said, man, it's one of those things where it's like my jujitsu is my outlet, but then
Hmm.
so is Facebook because I got so much pent up frustration. I just gotta let it out, man. But yeah, I like I said, I don't want to name names or anything because of the fact that I do love the jujitsu community and how positive it is now. Years ago in Corpus, we hated each other. We hated it was gym wars. Like we would talk shit about every other gym. We were the best gym. It was always about being the best. And I made a post earlier on Facebook today because I said, it shouldn't be Corpus. It should have never been Corpus versus Corpus. It should have been Corpus versus the world because
Exactly.
I don't give a shit about being the best in Corpus. I
We're
don't care
stronger
about being the
together.
best in Texas. I want to be considered one of the best in the United States, and I want to be able to beat guys that are from Brazil, from the motherland. Like that's what I give a shit about. I don't care about saying, oh, we got the best guys. Okay, well, you can say that, but we're gonna prove it. And so, when I first came up, it was ugly, man, and now it's totally changed. We cross train. The coaches I mean, one of my best friends owns another gym. Aurelio Gallegos, and him and my coach back in the day, man, there was that animosity was there. They hated each other, Um, but we actually at one point, Aurelio opened his doors to us. We went through a bad time financially, and he took in our whole team, and that's when me and him got really really close. And the reason I bring that up is because it's like I said this morning we trained together. He's always there. He corners me. He's helps me out. And I just fought one of his black belts at a super fight this last weekend, and he cornered against me. But that's the thing is like it's all love, man. It's all love. It's all positive,
It's all for
positive
involving your
vibes.
skills.
Exactly, man. That's all it is.
Now, what do you do on your spare time? You said you were a firefighter, but what else do you do?
Man, nothing. I'm pretty boring, man. Honestly, I spend time with my family. I've got, I was fortunate enough to rekindle a relationship with a girl that I've known since high school, and honestly, that's where all my time goes. You know, I, I'm a very simple man. I stay busy, but I'm either working out, I'm doing jujitsu. I got shit going on with the gym all the time. So there's either tournaments or super fights. And if I'm not doing that, then I want to spend time at home. I get my daughter once every other week. Thankfully, me and her mom have a good relationship.
Mhm.
We respect each other, and then we do our co-parenting pretty well together. So there's no animosity there. There's no ugliness. My daughter doesn't see any of that. So, but I do only get her once every other week. So, when I have her for my week, I like to spend time with her and be at home, and try to do things as a family. So, that's really all I do, man. I don't have any other real hobbies. We like to take trips out of town. We like to get away. Um, but right now, my hobby is still jujitsu. I lift weights, I work out, I do jujitsu, and I go to work. And with this coronavirus stuff lately, work has been a lot. There's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity to work some overtime, and we're building a house right now, so I'm trying to do that. And between building the house and doing that, it's like, man, I don't have much time, free time to do anything. That's why even this weekend's a quick little getaway. It's nice, to be able to do that. And my girl gets out after 3 o'clock, so we're gonna head out and go out of town and just try to unwind and relax for the weekend. But I brought some workout clothes. I'm gonna hit up my boy Andrew Craig up there in
Get some
Austin.
rules in.
And yeah, I'm gonna see, man, if I can make a stop at the Onnit gym and get some kind of workout in, depending on how close we are. Like I said, I'm at a point now where I gotta make sure I save family time for family time. But I brought some running shoes just in case, because if I can't make it to a gym, then I'm gonna get a 30-minute jog in somewhere.
Excellent. Before I let you go, I want to give you a quick opportunity to just give a shout out to sponsors, teammates, loved ones, anyone that's really helped you along your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people to be named. But honestly, it's my family, my team. Like I said, my girl had no idea what jiu-jitsu was, which is kind of nice. But she supports me 100%, even though she cringes every time I step on those mats and gets nervous. Like, she's still there for me. And she understands what I need to do as far as owning a gym and running a program and coming home at 9 o'clock every other night pretty much. And so without her and my daughter's understanding, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I really appreciate that. And then just my team. I couldn't do it without them. I tell them all the time, our gym is more than a gym, it's a family. When something happens that's devastating to one of my gym members, I'm there. I feel like my purpose with teaching jiu-jitsu is bigger than just earning a paycheck. It's bigger than just teaching people how to defend themselves. It's I feel like God's put me here for a reason. And I don't know if it's happened yet. It might have, and I just don't know. But I know that there's going to be a time where, because I'm here, somebody is saved. And I mean that, whether they're thinking of doing something harmful to themselves, whether they're thinking of doing something harmful to other people, whether they're just really in a dark place and they come out of it. um, you know that's why I do what I do. And so I thank my team for always having my back, always supporting me. um, a lot of the guys that I train are my training partners as well, and without them I couldn't prepare for these competitions. So I thank them for doing all that. Of course, I want to give a shout out to my coach who gave me my black belt, Hector Munoz. Even though we're not as tight anymore on the mats, I'll always owe him that gratitude for believing in me. Um, he was the first guy that made me believe that I could get to that level. And he would always tell me, he's like, "Hey, I don't care who it is, they ain't beat you yet." And so I try to keep that mindset, and I tell my students, I said, I don't give a shit who I go against on the jiu-jitsu mats or what they've accomplished. They ain't, until they beat me. Hey, every dog has their day. So
Exactly.
I try to keep that. And then my buddy Aurelio Gallegos, he's I call him a buddy, but he's more of a brother. This guy's been there for me on a personal level, going through some of the things that I've been through in my life. And relationships like that are worth more than any amount of money that I could get. And that's something that jiu-jitsu has given to me. So I'm forever grateful for guys like him and his continued mentorship and guidance. And, just like I said, my team, my coaches, my assistant coaches that help out. There's so many people involved in what we do as a gym um, that, there's too many to name. There's too many sponsors. There's too many people that I would feel wrong naming a bunch of sponsors that helped me out through the years that maybe may not be there now, but were an intricate part of getting me to where I've got. And they all know who they are, and that's the great thing about them. They're all humble. They don't ask me for anything. They just truly wanted to see me succeed, and that's part of the reason why I continue this grind and I continue to push and build the team, because I know that me succeeding makes everything, all the money that they spend, all the time, all the effort, it makes it all worth it for them. So I appreciate everybody.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check out Eddie, Roger, and Josh in the combat sports coverage team duels for $1,000. That will be representing Team Top Mount Apparel. That's May 1st, Tomball, Texas. If you're not going to be there in Tomball, you can order it online. I believe it's $4.99 off the combatsportscoverage.com website. Any last words for your competitors?
No, man. I mean, I let's go out there. Let's put on a show. Let's fast, furious, and with a purpose. People aren't gonna pay $4.99 to sit there and watch us hug each other for fucking 10 minutes. So let's hunt the sub, and let's keep the crowd entertained. And be ready, because me and my team are coming. We're hungry.
There you have it, man. Thank you again for joining us, and I can't wait to watch you compete here on May 1st.
Appreciate it, brother. Shout out to you for reaching out and doing the interview. It's always nice when guys like you don't forget about the old dogs that are still out here.
Excellent, man. Thank you again for your time, and I can't wait to, like I said, watch you compete and continue this friendship we have.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. God bless, man.
You too, man.